one big Acumen family.
Thank you for joining Acumen Intelligence inaugural podcast, everyone. We picked a topic that I think really reflects what we are, right? Acumen Intelligence and the brands under Acumen Intelligence serves clients from around the world, most times in languages that are not just English. At the same time, the local teams in 9 different locations have to act locally, doing what they can in their own countries. But they can always be sure that they are contributing to a project or a teammate in another country. Maybe a client in Tokyo or a work colleague in Jakarta or Kuala Lumpur or Colombo. That's how I see it, at least. It will be really interesting to kind of peel back what that actually means for all of us, right? But before we go into that, I think let's go around the virtual room and introduce ourselves in 20 seconds or less.
Hi everyone, my name is Maura Mariska. I'm the Senior BD Manager Acumen and I'm based in Jakarta, Indonesia.
Thanks.
Hi everyone, I'm Joseph. I'm the Operations Manager at Acumen and I'm based in Colombo.
Hi everyone, I'm Aline De Silva and I'm the Junior Digital Marketing Executive at Acumen Intelligence and I'm also based in Colombo.
Hey everyone, I'm Kapustin Mandir. I'm a campaign executive, also based in Sri Lanka.
So we're going to divide our conversation into 4 different buckets, which is the introduction, and then we'll go into personal and professional stories, sharing experiences that you guys have all had, right? Juza, you were, besides working at Acumen Intelligence, heading up operations, for example, you've got experience with a global brand franchise, right? As an event director. And Aline, new to the workforce, but learning very fast, right? One of our top rising stars in Acumen Intelligence. Kavisha, you are a top rising star as well, at our QBR. Maura, yourself as well, Acumenator. I'm sure all of you have lots of interesting experiences and interesting stories to share. Let's take it away. Who would like to go first? Think global, act local. What does that mean to you? Welcome back, Sarah, by the way. So Kavisha, think global, act local.
Every one of our colleagues are in different countries, Japan, Jakarta, Malaysia, in every country, but they're still working for the same goal. That's what I think when I think about think global.
Okay. Can you share a little bit about what you do at Acumen, just like briefly?
So I work on campaigns. Basically, I work with every team in the company, between creative team to data research team and every team on the company to deliver a successful campaign to our clients. That's all.
Yeah. From what I understand as well from the colleagues that we have, right? They say that you can speak Japanese.
Yes, I studied Japanese around, I think, 7 years by now.
I see.
When I was in school, yes.
I see. So you put your skills and talent in the Japanese language to your work in the campaigns team, right?
Yeah.
Interesting. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you would also work with operations and business development. Is that correct? Do you have to liaise with Sarah or Maura or Juza or Aline during a work day?
I rely on mostly on Juza because I mainly work on Japan region campaigns. But as campaign team, we do work with everyone here. Maura, Sarah, Aline, all of them.
I see. Okay. Team spirit there.
Yeah.
So, Sarah, maybe you can share that with us now. The think global, act local example.
I'll just go with what think global, act local means to me first. So to me, it's balancing global structure with local understanding. So we actually have this Acumen's global process on how to reach out to lead, right? But we also know every region has its own culture and way of communicating. So when we speak to people from different countries, we don't just stick to one style. We adjust the script, change the tone, the accent, everything,
Wow.
and just to make sure that message feels natural to them, and actually make sure that they understand at the end.
Wow. Have you spoken to anyone from Malaysia before besides me?
Yeah, a lot.
Can you imitate the Malaysian accent or the Singaporean accent?
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm really bad at them, but they do have an accent. And I'm not gonna lie, like when I talk to them, I guess I also change my accent according to them so that they understand.
Oh, okay. So this is not your day-to-day original accent now, right? It's different, is it?
No, no. Like for an example, like if I'm reaching out to someone from Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapore, I just have to make sure I'm very polite and speak a bit slower. Especially even if it's a gatekeeper or a lead who isn't fluent in English, we have to make sure we keep in like 2 to 3 seconds gap between repeating, going on ahead with the next word. And there are times where we will have to repeat the word to make sure they understand.
I see.
But moving on with Europe, people usually are more direct and formal, so we cannot go slowly like with Indonesia, Singapore and all. So we have to like become fast, and like these are the small adjustments like we make with different regions.
I see. So Maura, as business development, when you're speaking to your clients, right, from worldwide, do you find yourself also doing the same thing?
Yeah, of course, because I think coming from Southeast Asia background, I'm based in Indonesia, so exactly what Sarah said, like I think Indonesian, we need to be very polite, very warm, very slow in talking, because if we rush the message, they don't really get what you're saying. But I think few times I had a meeting with European prospect or client, they want things to be just very direct and very straight to the point, you know. They just go straight to the point, what you want to say, what you want to share with them.
Interesting.
Yeah. Because I think with Indonesian, personal relationship matters. Like we don't just call, especially if they're older, we don't just say their name by their name. We have salutation like Mr. or Mrs. In Bahasa is Bapak, Ibu, or Kakak.
Yeah.
So it's just part of our culture. We want to make it respectful, especially to the elders, to people that are older, and to people that we just meet. We need to have like some salutation.
Yeah, that's true. I find the same also for Malaysia. Juza and Aline, anything you'd like to share? Think global, act local. What does that mean to you?
Yeah, okay. So I think everyone brought up some important points relating to how they have to adjust. Like for example, Sarah's case, when she has to make sure that she makes some adjustment when she's calling out to anyone in Singapore, Malaysia, right?
Yeah.
So from my understanding, when it comes to global, especially in my role, is we would work with so many other countries, right? Of course, we have colleagues in many countries as well, but when it comes to clients, we work with many various countries, and when we work with them, we need to make sure that whatever the standardized rules that we have set, like say for example data quality measures, processes, are standardized in every country. But then again, in my perspective, when it comes to locally, is that you need to have a local team, right? Like for example would be Japan. Whatever we do globally with many other markets would not work with Japan, right? And the only way we know that it doesn't work out is because we have a local team. They know, okay, they understand how the local businesses work and how they operate. It's totally different.
Yeah.
So tactics needs to be changed, maybe workflows needs to be changed. So yeah, I mean, everything goes hand in hand. You need local curry to go with the global rice. So.
Okay, thank you for bringing up food. making me hungrier. So, but you're right. When speaking with Ryoji, also our business development in Japan, he did bring up that there's just some unique characteristics to the Japanese market, where if you were to take global and apply to Japan, it won't work. And as a result of that, that's why Acumen Intelligence Japan has some pretty unique offerings as well. And they're unique in the market in Japan also, from what I understand from Ryoji, right? Aline, over to you.
Yeah, so like Joseph said, we have teams and clients across multiple regions at Acumen Intelligence, which means that our strategies are constantly shaped by diverse perspectives, market behaviors, and also cultural insights. So one example that really reflects the think global, act local for me would be Acumen Intelligence taking part in Japan IT Week 2025 and how we prepared content for it. So basically our goal was to promote Acumen Intelligence's presence there and connect meaningfully with the Japanese audience. At first, our team leaned towards using strong Japanese cultural visuals, things like cherry blossoms and Kyoto-inspired aesthetics, to make it feel more localized. But then, through discussions with Ryoji, our Director of Business Development in Japan, we learned something really insightful. He explained that in Japan, audiences are actually more drawn to campaigns with a global, modern look and feel, since local imagery is already part of their everyday environment. So that completely shifted our strategy. We decided to keep the visual direction globally consistent for Japanese audience, while at the same time using Japanese aesthetics instead when promoting Japan ITV content across global regions. So I would say it was a great learning experience, not just about marketing, but also about cultural perception, because it shows how diverse perspectives within our team can help us be more balanced, and we can make more creative decisions with it.
I'm like stuck here already. It was a very good answer. Okay, so what Aline said about, I think it's interesting that when Ryoji pointed out that the Japanese audience actually preferred global and modern kind of visuals. Wow, who would have thought that, right? So yeah, so does that mean that for videos or visuals or promotions that you create for our global business development team, what do you think, the preference of the audience might be? Any thoughts about that? Anybody, any ideas?
Is created for Japan is not going to work for global. That's for certain. Mainly because the language is one factor, right? So majority, like Japanese, prefer if the content that is sent out, it's localized for them. So that's something that we do. And then when it comes to graphics, even though we use the local language, I would say, based on what I've seen in terms of my experience, I find it more cluttered, but apparently that's Japanese style, right? There's text plastered all around. But for global, that won't work. Global needs to kind of look a little bit neat. Yeah. So that's
yeah, it's interesting. And global is not just like one world. It's a big blue planet consisting of still many different countries, still with its own preferences, its own culture, its own traditions. Yeah. So does anybody have an example of solving a customer or market challenge by using the think global and act local mindset? Any examples, anyone?
Yeah, one of my campaigns that I worked, for example, with HP, right? So they're targeting mostly Southeast Asia, but Southeast Asia itself can be different. For example, for Indonesia and Singapore, maybe Singaporeans like to be more direct and more straightforward.
Exactly.
Meanwhile, Indonesia, you need to have relationship, you need to have maybe chit chat before going to the main point.
Yeah.
Like I think with Indonesia, at least I can speak for myself, because I'm Indonesian. It doesn't matter how good your product is if your relationship is not good with them, if you cannot build a trust and relationship, they won't care about you. So that's why if you already trust that one person, companies that they're working for example, they're working in company A and then they move to company B, your clients will follow you. It's because the relationship that comes within. And I think when in terms of like creating content targeting to, for example, Philippines or Indonesia or Malaysia or Japan, it would be more engaging and it can create more awareness if the content is localized. For example, Bahasa content would be more engaging than English content directing to Indonesia market, right? So I think, localized content, and then for example, the tele team, maybe if the tele team is local, like if you're validating Indonesian leads, then if the Indonesian tele team call the lead, then they would more likely to answer your questions. So I think with global, we understand the bigger marketing picture, but the local is more bringing the empathy and adaptability to what makes each market unique. But the global give us direction. I think local give us the empathy and the adaptability to each market.
Okay, that's a nice way of putting it. I myself, you guys have each shared your experiences of think global, act local. I also have something to share. As a result of my job, I need to travel to different places to cover events and report about it. And in fact, next week we're going to Singapore. And before that, we were in Singapore also for another event, right? This is what our job is about. These are the kind of places that it will take us to. So earlier this year, I was in another country for the big tech conference by a brand that has 4 letters in its name. Right? So, and then during dinner, I was seated next to this present gentleman, right? But we didn't have a chance to chat. But later I found out he was the global head of professional services. So when I found that out, like as soon as I got home, right, I contacted the PR agency and also the communications lead in Singapore to ask them for an interview with this professional services head who's global. What I understand was that he traveled to London, so they had to contact the EMEA team to get a hold of his time, but it didn't happen. And then later he went back to his home country of the US, and then the Singapore communications team contacted the global communications as well to try and make the virtual interview happen. And it was so rewarding when you just feel like a sense of accomplishment. Finally, I get to be in the conference call with this guy to ask him questions and get my story, right? And to have the interview happen and then to see the final product was so rewarding, right? So I guess that was one example of being global, act local. Would you say that? I guess it is. Kavisha, I will have you know that actually yesterday when I was having a one-to-one with Aline, she mentioned that I was saying your name wrongly.
Really?
Yeah, and you never mentioned it. I kept calling you Kavisha, and then yesterday she said, no, it's Kavisha. So,
well, Catherine, you just pointed out these are local names. Us, Kavisha is a local name, but of course globally, our colleagues would struggle pronouncing it at first. But that's another thing too.
Yeah, and I also discovered something interesting yesterday because Aline mentioned she has a second name, and her second name is Kavisha. So 2 names that sound like a guy's name, but a girl has it as well, and it's spelled differently, right? Because hers is Kavi, yours is Kave.
That's Kavisha. Kavisha, I guess. Right, Aline?
Mine is Kavisha.
Kavisha, yeah, there you go.
Don't understand, it's a SHA and an SHA, so why is it Sha and Sha? Oh well, local. Already.
I'd like to bring up something that I realized, right? So of course, like on this call we have people from Indonesia, majority right now from Kuala Lumpur, and then Malaysia.
Yeah.
Right? So I think earlier this year when I went to Jakarta, right? So I was trying out different food items. Right? I went out colleagues and we got some stuff, and I was trying out their local things. I can't remember the names right now. Even though it sounded different and looked different, then it just reminded me of the taste of certain items that we have it here locally as well in Sri Lanka. I found that at first I didn't expect it to taste that way, but then it's strange that locally everyone has something similar, but they just what differentiate is just the name
Correct.
of the thing. I think we call it something called caliper right here, but over there they call it something else.
Is
but
it
tastes
red?
exactly the same.
Is it red? Small red?
I don't know. I tried several things. We all had something like kaboom there. We call it kaboom. We all had something there as well. We call it something else, right? But yeah.
Talking about food, rambut nenek, right? Maura introduced to me. Maura and Disti introduced rambut nenek to me, and then I had a look at it, and then I realized that rambut nenek is also in Colombo. There is also, but it's called something else, right? And the pink color thing that you wrap it with is a different color. It can be multicolored in Colombo. And then when I looked at it, I think somebody brought it to the office, and I tasted it. I tasted the rambut, which is the strand, right? I realized it's candy floss. It's candy floss. In Malaysia, we have that also. We have the candy floss, but without the tutup to wrap it.
The biscuit, the pink.
Yeah. So we're all same but different. I think in terms of food, maybe I think also in terms of languages, probably culture, tradition also. Just one example. Anything to add?
Yeah, like for example, apple, right? In English, in Bahasa is apple.
Apple.
Basically the same, but maybe because our A is we pronounce A, right?
Yeah.
So apple in Bahasa is just APEL. That's it. But we call it apple.
Apple. And in Malaysia is Epal. EPAL. We spell it backwards. Yeah. So
Right. I didn't know.
Now, for an example, if you just take a country like US or Canada, there are Indians, Malaysians in Canada and US. So if you just consider their English, all of them are very fluent, not gonna lie. All of them are very fluent, but they have their own accent that makes them, like, we find them, okay, they are Indians, they're Malaysian. They have their own local accent in that global environment.
yeah.
I just wanted to add. That was the first thing that came to my mind. So think global, act local. Is there a specific way Acumen Intelligence follow that is different from others?
I think this is a question for Jusa.
Yeah, I'm just looking at him.
Everybody look at Jusa now.
I mean, I wouldn't know it's different from others, but I know we do it this way because it helps us with what we do. Like for example, one being having a localized team. Since you brought it up for tele, right? Having someone who can speak in Indonesian bahasa, call up people is much more beneficial than having someone calling in English, because the person, whoever is answering, will feel comfortable with speaking to someone in their own language, right? So that is something that we do. So like that, we do various things that would help that local market that we are trying to target. I can't tell you exactly if what we do is different from the rest. Can't say if our competitors do the same or not. I hope they don't. One thing is that it's nice to have people in other regions, other countries, other markets, right? Because you get to learn from each other. And when it comes to business, whatever that they are learning is being added and that's what we use, right? So even though Acumen is a global brand, but when we are running a certain campaign, we need to speak to the local team, understand if this campaign would work, right? Like for example, if it's targeting Indonesia, what's the right approach? Would this approach work that we ran for maybe UK or USA? Would it work in Indonesia, right? So that's sort of an insight that we can get from our localized team. So it's good to have people in team in various countries, even though we are different, our culture and everything is different. So that we have our global meetings and such when we do everyone from all over join these calls, and that moment, that one meeting with everyone together, we are all basically one big Acumen family. At that time, we don't say okay, we're representing Indonesian market or the Colombo market or so.
Yeah.
So Acumen basically unites
Yeah.
everyone.
Yeah. From where I am in Malaysia, being the only person in Acumen from Malaysia, I think we all go with the flow. And what's really unique about the Acumen team is that we're all open to learning and new experiences. So that's one of the unique things which I find about Acumen Intelligence. So business development might be based in Jakarta, operations can run from Colombo, and marketing is handled elsewhere. But all working together, they make the bigger vision succeed. Yeah. So think globally, act locally. While local actions may seem small, it is the many efforts on the ground that truly create the impact. Yeah?